Hello everyone, welcome back to my show, My Abu Dhabi. I'm your host, Muhammad Hamdani. Today we have going to be a very different and very informative episode and the podcast going to. And today we have also one of the well experienced and well known in especially in Abu Dhabi real estate. Today we with Mr. Maverick. And so, how's your day, Mr. Maverick?
Today's day is good. It's a bit of a casual day. Saturdays it's a bit of a slowed down day for us.
That's why you look scheduled today.
You see, I'm on the PC the whole day. Just shooting emails today, doing a little bit of contractual work. So didn't really have to put on the suit. I'm trying to break the norm. Brokers don't have to always be in suits. Of course, you've seen Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan is not always in his karate uniform, but you still be like, oh, Jackie Chan is here. So this is me now. Yeah.
Oh, well, we agree, and obviously it's a matter of your knowledge and experience, and obviously how you're gonna deliver the services. This is the best part, and I understand that. And for sure, Mr. Maverick, and we're going to have. Over all the discussions we're gonna do, and that will be for sure. It's gonna really informative and really helpful for the investors. So Maverick, what is your have an ideas and that you have to share?
Well, the first thing is I need to know who I'm speaking with, because the concept of investment depends on a lot of things. It depends on what kind of investment you're looking to make. What ticket size you fall, which category you fall in, and essentially what is your long-term plan. A lot of investors, they do investments only in Dubai. Some of them do only in Abu Dhabi. Some of them do best of both worlds, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And they come with certain portfolios and certain plans, and then they ask us, where can I buy? Directly. That's the first question. The first question is that we have to ask as a broker: who are you? Not in an offensive way, but who are you as a person? What is your plan? For example, if you come to me with a portfolio of, let's say, for example, 10 million, you want to put it in the market. You ask me for advice. How do I put this in? All right, we have 10 million on the table. What do you want from this 10 million? You want 10 million potentially over the span of next 5-6 years, multiplying in value through capital appreciation. You want 10 million in multiple apartments to reap the rental benefits. You want 10 million for your forever home, like you are an end user. Basically, I need to know who that is, and then I can accordingly guide them. Like, okay, for an investment point of view, we need to look at these islands, and for rental point of view, these islands. For end user, what is your preferences? And then as per you, these islands.
The point is and so means any one of the investor who international investors, when you look to the people or international families, when you looked at obviously UAE is the place where the people love to come and to stay, because what's your advice into in a real estate and as an investor to coming to an Abu Dhabi? What will be your best advice and consider on the best ROI?
Oh, okay. That's an interesting question. But the first question I like to ask my investors is, how much do you love your own country? The reason it's a very comical way to do things, but it's a different approach from most brokers. Why? Because when you come from another country, for example, you are going through a lot of things in your own country, because if you are coming in to be an investor in Abu Dhabi, it means that you already have some certain investments in your home country. Let's say, for example, let's pick my country. In my country, we pay taxes, we pay certain, we have VAT, we have GST, we have all of these things. And that is the reason actually most people want to pull out investments from there and come into Abu Dhabi, because essentially there is no taxes to pay on any properties. Any rental benefits is all for you. Any growth on capital appreciation, it's all for you. Some countries, the amount of capital appreciation you're taxed that much, so you lose that much of money. So I always ask them, how much do you love your country? Because based on that, then I know how invested they are to bring everything from their country to the UAE. Now, in terms of this, and especially to hit ROI, the first thing I'll tell them is, listen, we need to plug in your money into something that is growing. What is growing? Off-plan. Off-plan is growing. Off-plan is an opportunity for you to pick and get prices.
But majority, sorry, in that I would like to add it in, obviously when you talk in investment, but there is a type of investor when you said, okay, off-plan, but there is a people who said, no, I have the cash liquidity or I want to do the market, but I'm looking for an investment. So somebody wants ready projects and they want to start getting the income. So what is your advice in that perception? Because to clarify, investment. So because some of the investors considering, oh, I want something ready to start getting income. So that is, I would like you to advise as well.
Okay. This is also a very interesting question, and the way to tackle this question for most people is, you can get income from a ready property. We will give you no problem. It's absolutely fine. But the things that I have in my mind for you is long term. Let's say I get you a ready property. Let's say you get income. Let's say you get the best income. Best income by the count in Abu Dhabi is about 6.5-7% ROI. Let's say you get about 7% ROI for 5 years. That's 35% ROI. And this is, I'm talking about ROI that you get to keep for yourself based on rent. Okay? And potentially you will sell in the future. Let's say the property, a ready property that has already appreciated from before, and then you have bought it, and then it appreciates a little bit more. Let's say it appreciates another 10%. Let's say 15%. That means you have made a total of 15 plus 35, 50% in over the span of so many years.
Yeah.
Now, when I tell you off-plan, and the reason I jumped off-plan first is because off-plan has the possibility of growth from 35% right up to 50% in the first 3 years itself. And after that, once it's ready, it appreciates a little bit more, and you can choose to sell there also, or you can choose to start renting, which will back again get you the same 7%, 6.5%, let's say. And potentially over here, you have multiplied your investment almost 2x.
I also, just to be added one more thing, and normally what I see in, if you see a 7% ROI or 7 to 6% or 8%.
And by the 7% is not for all properties. 7% is on the higher side.
Higher side, yeah. But I can see, and to develop for last Abu Dhabi for last almost 5 years to 6 years. And if you see the for 2007 recession to 8 was a different concept, and obviously the growing up and all. Today where we're standing today, it's extremely very unbelievable numbers that people who achieved it into in ROI perception. But what I see, Abu Dhabi is one of the highest rental profit that you're able to get. And Abu Dhabi is the place where you are getting more than 7%. The numbers of the return that if you see in Saadiyat Island, if you see into Yas Island, if you see in Al Reem Island, and if you see the Raha Beach, and obviously furthermore the new islands in Masdar City, because it's a different natures. And I see that if you're gonna see the Mamsha Saadiyat, one of the projects, well, the one bedroom apartments has been increased more than 20% of the rental value, 25% of the rental value increase. So the point is that we can say to our investor in that point that we have, and I can say that 90% that the rental value has been very high in Abu Dhabi, and comparative in ROI is in a high achievable the achievable numbers. I mean,
so that's back again. You come back to the question: what is the right way? Do I get a ready property and then reap the benefits, or do I go for off-plan and reap the benefits? The way I always tell anybody, it's kind of like if you're making like a pot of noodles, you can heat the water, boil it, and then drop the noodles in, or you can start with a cold pot with the noodles in and boil it. You'll still get the noodles at the end. It's about which way you want to go.
Absolutely.
Whether you want to go from path A, path B, path C, and that's the beauty of Abu Dhabi. Is, there are so many different ways, so many different plans that most investors actually don't really have an idea of. Because what happens is, in other countries, you have to consider all of the the tax implications, the different types of laws that are implemented over there, which sometimes they favor the landlord, sometimes they favor the tenant. This is in resale, in sale, in rental, and we don't have all of that over here. Over here it's pretty straightforward. It's equal rights for both. Yes, there are disputes from time to time that cannot be resolved, but again, this is a market in which they are improving that on a daily basis. So over here, people have XYZ plans to go up to. So I will say to the same investor that we can follow your plan or we can follow my plan. The thing is, predictions basically have always been on the side of plan, So I will still structure my sales to this person, start at a low point, grow up to that point, and when you get the benefits, sometimes even you can get a benefit midway. Let's say, for example, we go up on your plan, we go for a 20% down payment, we go for an 80% mortgage, which is the way to buy a ready property. You're investing about 100% of your funds. You've locked yourself essentially for life with this property. In off plan, you have put in 5%, 10%, then maybe another 6-month mark, 5%. We finish the resale policy, and then we can exit out of the property in a matter of days.
And I think the second thing, that if you see the time and obviously the technology and all the way that the back history, if you see the investment perception or investor perception, they was looking for example, you buy into properties and you looked at after 20 years the appreciation, or after 10 years or something, in a very long numbers that you have to wait to get increase the profit. But I think at the time when you see the all over the world, and I think and minimum the investment return as I can see in Abu Dhabi has been more than the high profit that ROI you're expecting it, and 3 to 5 years you can recover the entire the investment, the profit, and plus the investment that what you invested there.
Essentially, I believe what this is you're talking about the golden period once you own the property.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is something that I've also spoken to a lot of investors about. What happens is, and a lot of brokers, they don't do this. After you sell the property to your buyer, you have completely forgotten your buyer. Unless he wants to invest again or she wants to invest again, but that's not the case. You have to stay in touch with them, because what happens is they can give you some insight into the banking section of how they handle things when they buy the property essentially, and how they pay the bank back. I have gotten feedback from a lot of the owners who were able to completely pay off their mortgage within a span of 5.5 to 6.5 years. So essentially they are young buyers, and they the age group of like 35 to 40. They get a mortgage of about 25 to 20 years, but in about 5 years time they're done, and they reach essentially the golden period. What is this golden period? It's the period in which you're not paying the bank anymore, because you're the 100% of the owner of the property, and all of the benefits that the property returns is basically yours to keep. And a lot of people don't appreciate this, and a lot of people don't predict this, especially investors coming in from outside. They don't see how easy it is to get to this point if you better manage your finances. And essentially we are there to guide you, saying that we can make you a 5-year plan at a time. You don't have to essentially lock yourself for 20 years. Yes, if you are a person who has definitely a lot of other commitments back in your home country, and at the same time you're working here, your children are here, and of course this kind of investor is different. This is a different perspective for him.
No, majority, and also the add-on things. The majority of the investors, they got situation. They got really frustrated due to the lack of the informations, and the brokers been giving the a different background of the return of the ROI. And when you see in that numbers, and obviously the investor has no the trust issues with that, and especially the calculations. I mean, honestly, we do all of the numbers mistakes, but and I think one of the investor transparency, it should be required. Do you think, or also do you think that the brokers and whoever the been dealing with the investors, so what is your advice in two different perception, because we as a real estate and we another person as an investors, so what will be the between the relations in between investors and the brokers, and how we going to manage this relation for the future?
I would say this, by answering this question, I'll be helping a lot of brokers in the market. Some trade secrets we should keep to ourselves. So the advice will be for the investors. Dear investors, please do not blindly buy. You have to be informed about what you're buying. A lot of times we hear things like, you need to buy now, it will be gone by the end of day. This is true, but at the same time, make sure you've done your homework. Don't undersign anything without doing your homework. I have seen investors personally, please can you sell my property off? I bought it thinking it is a sea view, it's a street view. I said, did you misread the word sea and street? Because it's very clear on the documents, So investors, please do your homework. Do not buy with somebody you've never met. Make sure that you've met the person, so you know the person. The person has value for your money. And the person is working for you, not rather than working for themselves just to make some quick commissions. And no, this is so my advice will always be to the investor. If you don't find anyone anywhere, please try to find us. This is what I would say. Jokes apart, but yeah.
And there is a very also narrow. I mean, being honest, obviously, as to the providential, we have got numbers of the brokers. Then also we discuss about the investor discussions. How do you find the investors, and what do you about the investor as a client? How do you can define? So they're saying, sir, there is an ABC offers. Is there ABC offers there? Because I believe in also into any investors or any end user who going to purchase the properties. So, and I think the best part that before we interact with any clients or any investor, the broker should has to understand the market perceptions. We need to understand and understand the ROI, because I believe Abu Dhabi is the best place right now in all over the world, which is the most high profit, the ROI that you're going to get in here, the best, the future that you're going to have in here, and especially not just an investor perception and people for a living perception as well. And I think in a very short time the investors can make a very high profit in here. And I did not find anything in time my experience and my journey in Abu Dhabi for last 2 decades that if somebody purchase a property, oh, I have lost it, I have this situation, I have in this, until I think the investor who's managing the financial numbers, the numbers managed properly.
Yeah, if the person has been managing the numbers well, if the investor is pacing himself, then definitely he will never find this situation. He will never find himself in this situation, because what happens is there is the thing is with and this is what I tell most of my investors as well. Everything is interesting to invest in, but you cannot invest in everything. You can invest on what you believe in. You might see, let's say for example,
and also you cannot get the profit within 6 months,
exactly,
which is normally
it's not with everyone. I'm sorry to tell anybody this, but it's not with everyone. There are certain projects, there are certain locations, there are certain targeted audiences that will be after this particular property if you buy it. So focus on what we are guiding you towards. Never in my life have I ever had to force someone to go in for something, but if I had to, it would be the projects that I believe in that they don't believe in, because then it's like a missed opportunity. But one thing I will advise again, investors, if the broker sounds like the developer, don't buy. Why? There are some brokers in the market, they have only the knowledge on that one project, and they will sell only that one project. And if the investor tells them that no, I'm not interested, That's it. The broker will not advise this person in any other direction. Why? Because the broker is essentially the puppet of the developer. He's repeating the same
But
thing.
it's lack of also in here the
Yeah, with lack of information.
investors also have a lack of insecurity of the developers as well, because and let me give it to you the clarity of very important thing, especially in Abu Dhabi and my Abu Dhabi. I will tell you something. The best place in to invest in Abu Dhabi, the best safest investment in Abu Dhabi. It's not about the developers. It's basically depend on the person where to invest and how to invest, and accordingly that you need to figure it out the ROI, the profit, because we're not building the investor, we're building a future with the investors, because that is connecting to a very long journey that you need to continue with the person, with the transparency, with the honesty that you need to keep it.
Yeah. The best investment on paper might not be the best investment for you. The best investment for you is as per your condition, as per your criteria, as per what you're hoping to achieve, and essentially get back from the property. That's the best property for you. That's the best investment for you. And I would guide any person in that manner, because at the end of the day, we are a brokerage firm. A brokerage firm's job is to sell what the buyer needs. His job is not to sell only one commodity. Like, for example, if a developer were to approach me and say, sell only my product, it makes no sense. What if all of the people I'm dealing with are looking for something else, or they're looking in an area where you have not capitalized yet? Then how would I essentially sell your product to this kind of person? It doesn't work that way. So I essentially have to work for my buyer, and then when my buyer will be like, okay, this seems interesting, keep it on the back burner, we will revisit this idea if what I'm looking at does not work. Then I can be like, okay, I take you here also, I show you this product also, and if it works for you, we can buy.
Also, I have one more questions to ask, and I think normally whenever we selling any projects and we sell it to our investors, and most of the time that as a broker they pay the good commissions. Okay, then obviously the relation between the broker and the investors, when they sell the projects, the broker got their commissions. I'm one of them, and being honest, the transparency that I have been in my journey that I find somewhere, because we do mistakes, but we need to accept and we have to stand on the situations with our investor. That's like I'm having a delay, or I'm trying my best, I'm trying to resell your property, because the investor who trusts on a broker, so obviously he expecting to resell the property for the investors.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is one of the problem that and I want to just to add things that these kind of situations, how are you going to handle to resale the property, and if you see that there's many other developers been launching the projects, and how you're gonna be manage the relation between the brokers and the investors.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the question, if I'm understanding it correctly, is my buyer purchased the property through me, and now my buyer is looking to resale for the future to basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So over here, okay. How I would answer this correctly is by not answering it at all, because I'll tell you, there is no right way to do this. There can be a time where there might be so many launches in the market, the project that you recently bought in can be completely overshadowed. There can also be a time when no matter how many launches are there in the market, your project is still the best amongst all, so it will resale quick. It can also be a time when you have bought a small ticket which can resale faster as compared to a big ticket which might be investor specific investment. So for example, if I have bought something, let's say for example for 15 million, and if I want to resell it for, let's say, 18 million, that is much more difficult to achieve quickly, not in the long run, quickly, than an investment which is, say, let's say 3 million and I want to sell for 4.5. 3 to 4.5 is a faster liquidation than 15 to 18. So this is what I would say, because why? A small ticket investment is, the demographic of buyers is bigger. It can be for investor, it can be end user, it can be rental ROI, it can be a holiday home perception purchase. But a big ticket for example, could be somebody who's looking to move to Abu Dhabi, maybe to come and stay there in the unit himself or herself. It could be something that they are taking potentially to for the rental return. Basically, maybe it's a sea view unit or something. So this is basically. So there is no right way to answer this question.
So you mean to say in in a short time that you are looking into the return of the profit and should be to wait till at least a time of minimum time of 2 years time or 6 month time of handover time?
Not fixed. I'll tell you why. This is a very famous example, by the way. Many of my investors will recognize me from this example also. It's basically the biryani example. Biryani example. Now, when you cook biryani, you know that at certain parts of the dish is still ready to eat. You make biryani, you make the rice, you make the chicken. Okay. Now, when I make the rice and when I make the chicken, let's say I make the chicken first. It's still ready to eat. It's not biryani, but it's ready to eat. We can start eating right now. And then I make the rice, which is basically the biryani rice, which I can eat with the chicken. And I can eat it right now, but it's not biryani. And then finally I assemble the whole thing with my onions and everything in it, and then that is biryani, which is ready to eat.
Absolutely.
This is the final maturation of the property. Now, what is the meaning of this example? We could have resold when it is chicken, but it's just chicken. We could have resold when it is rice and chicken, but it's just rice and chicken. And then we can resell when it is ultimately biryani, which would be the best tasting out of all of the things. So it depends on where you want to sell and how much benefit you want to make. And then that is basically how I would go about explaining this thing, because I cannot explain this in numbers, I cannot explain this in perception, I cannot explain this in time frame. It's just about there is a proper entry time and there is a proper exit time. And you have to choose which one, and you have to make peace that okay fine, I did only a 200,000 investment on a 1 million property, let's say, and I reaped the benefits, maybe a small 50k premium, or maybe I made 150k premium because I was willing to wait. And then I made a profit of like almost 500,000 because I sold it when it was delivered. So
no, I agree with your points, and obviously the real estate is one of the. I've been heard the example that saying it can be sick, cannot be dead. People needs a home. People needs the place to live and to obviously need to do some business, and then I understand that. And also, I'm very glad, Maverick. Thank you so much for the time for today, and it's really really nice and hopefully we'll be having a further more episode that we're going to do with different ideas, with different approach. And for sure that guys, if you have any questions and any inquiries, the mention below, the subscriptions and are there, informations are there, you can contact us and we can here to help you. And the best advice and for the investors, we're here to help you, and with the transparency, with the trust, and for sure in the future that you need to invest in Abu Dhabi, where to invest and how to invest in My Abu Dhabi. Thank you so much.